Hello and welcome to today's episode of my channel, which I will call the Yard Sale Blues. Going to the grocery store yesterday and had to pass through a little town on the way there that had a bunch of yard sale signs out and had people with tables full of their junk sitting in front of their house. So after I did my grocery shopping and took the groceries home, I decided I needed to go back down there and take a look myself. You know how it is with yard sales and flea markets and stuff like that. You sort through other people's junk. You're lucky if you find anything that you like that's worth buying. So when I got there, I parked the car at the ball field and walked back to the street and looked to my left and looked to my right, and there was a big house to my left that had a bunch of clothes and stuff out in the front, boxes full of stuff, and I thought that was a potentially good place to try. But at the same time, I had come in from the right hand side and I had passed by a couple of houses that I thought I liked, looked potential. So I decided to go to my right, hike up that street, check those places out, and then go across to a parallel street, and go down that street, and loop around, end up back at this house on the left as my last stop. And went around about an hour, hiked about a mile. Saw the usual junk that I wasn't interested in. The only thing I bought was a couple of homemade cookies and some lemonade, and was at the last house on the left, getting ready to go home, kind of tired. Went up the driveway and said hello to the people sitting up on the porch, and the lady asked me if there was anything in particular I was interested in, and I said, I was kind of tired. And I said, just kind of looking, really. Figured I'd spend about a minute or two there and, go home from there. I was tired. So I looked over stuff in front. Worked my way back towards the garage and noticed that the garage door was open, so I decided to go in and look to see what he had for sale in there, all prepared to see his fine collection of junk chainsaws that he took apart and couldn't repair and now he wants to sell for parts, or maybe his massive beer stein collection, or just stuff like that, stuff I'm not interested in. And when my eyes adjusted to the darkness or the light in the garage, I was somewhere between heaven and hell. Not sure exactly which you would classify it as. First thing I noticed was the row of 1/16 inch die-cast cars along his top shelf. I was glad I never got excited about those. They too big to store, too expensive, too many of them to like. So I looked down at the table. He had about 4 tables set up, big tables, all lined with Hot Wheels still on the card. I looked through those and was kind of amazed to find some rather old ones. Late 80s, early 90s castings, and kind of have mixed emotions about those. If they're that old and still on the card, I hate to tear them off the card as much as I want the car off of the card. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. So I looked over those and thought I might come back to a couple of those, and really interested, wondered if he had a bucket full of loose cars that I could sort through and maybe find something that I liked. Well, this was a high-class establishment. He did not have buckets full of loose cars. He had little plastic see-through containers with individualized compartments and cars sorted, label on the front of each one, $2 a piece, or 3 for $5, or $3 a piece and 2 for $5. So I started going through those. That led to this. Talked to the guy just a little bit. Wasn't as polite as I should have been, and you know, talked to him for a long time, find out simple little things like his name. But yeah, you know, he came over to ask me if there's anything in particular I was looking for, and I said, oh, you know, just whatever I decide I like. I said, I really don't need anything. I already have too many little cars. And he laughed, and that was when he told me that he buys from estate auctions, complete collections. So if anybody has too many little cars, it would be him. So I laughed at that and sorted through his collection of little cars. Found ones that I liked. Had to sort through, find ones that I had seen earlier before I had finally decided I was going to buy. And made my selection. Took them up to the porch rail, laid them out. Told the lady that I had come to a total of $25. She looked at the cars and said, how does $20 sound? So, hey, you know, that sounds real good. Thank you very much. So that made this trip worthwhile. Yard sailing. Good luck. Once in a row. That was maybe the oldest one I came across. First couple of years for the 34 Ford Hot Wheels. And it was what they call a high raker. Look at that baby. If you have to be badder than Johnny down the street, you can just jack your car up like that. And Johnny will go home crying to his mommy. Or you could put it like that if you don't have to be that bad. Or put it all the way down to be a lowrider. So I've got specifics about each of the cars. Maybe I'll skip over those and go right to my favorite purchase. Usually hate to spend a whopping $8 for a little die-cast car, but this one was special. And when I saw it, when I decided I was already buying cars, I had to go back and get this one. This is my animal spirit, or maybe my car spirit. My favorite character in the Disney Cars series. And you should know already that that would be Ramone. Not just any Ramone, but purple Ramone. Ramone came in green or yellow in addition to purple that year. And you know, 59 Chevy lowrider, voiced by Cheech Marin, that appreciates candy apple and meadow flake and pearl paint jobs. So that was the buy of the day. That was my favorite one I had to have. Old Ramone. And the flames are not fluorescent. Yes, you know I already tested them. So Ramone, I guess, loses points there. The flames aren't fluorescent. Could have been better. So that's my channel for today. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.